Welcome to the Big Fat Real Estate Checks podcast with Marco Kozlowski, where we help investors like you get the knowledge and skills you need to replace your JOB with passive cash flow for life.
Hey guys, welcome to Big Fat Real Estate Checks. My name is Francesco Galluccio. Just kidding, Marco Kozlowski, and I'm with Francesco Galluccio and Gabriella Araish. Mamma mia.
What you talking about?
What you talking about? If you are just listening to this on a podcast, you have no idea what our visuals look like, and we're doing some wacky things with our hands, Italiano style. Today is going to be a segue, the next step into a little mini-series here that we're doing. With MVP. If you have not listened to that, please do. In fact, if you have not listened to any of these podcasts at all, this is your first time, welcome, Virgin. We are happy to have you here. Our goal is to help you with as much value as possible, but stop listening right now. Go back to the first 10 episodes. Listen to how we structure deals so we never have to use money in order to buy property that cash flows ever. In fact, we get paid to buy property using skills, not money. If you know what you're doing, have the right skill sets, specifically now in this economic time, you can make a killing by really serving a generous amount of humans by learning what to do, how to do it, and replacing your active income with passive income by really helping a tremendous amount of people. And it makes us really happy when we see results. And that's what we want for you guys. So today, I believe we're going to talk about our ego and our preconceptions and how that affects putting things on the whiteboard, living in other people's, trying to help in other people's universes with our mission, vision, and purposes, or MVPs, which is basically what we did in the last couple episodes. So if you have not listened to the last two, stop, listen to those after you've listened to the first 10, and of course, you can continue at this point. So we'll wait here while you listen to those. Okay, welcome back. That was awkward. So let's talk about, our beliefs, our preconceptions when we're communicating with people that they're not going to say yes, they're not going to do that. Again, that's all me, ego. That's not whiteboarding. That's your ego talking and your fears talking, which are stopping you from actually serving another human. And if you really get this with crystal clarity, that this is not about you, this is about what other people want and need, and other people have a need for a service of some kind. And if you understand their pain, which is how we're really going to help and serve as many humans as possible, is figure out the pain and poke that pain, create a solution for that pain. You'll be rewarded beyond measure from a satisfaction of helping other humans and giving and paying it forward and giving back to generous copious amounts of capital at your fingertips, because you're really helping and serving and doing with integrity the right thing. So let's talk about ego real quick and our beliefs of bringing in our own junk and our own baggage into a conversation that has really no business being there whatsoever, period.
So I guess I can get started over here because I'm looking at Frank and he's like,
because we had a pretext just before the podcast, and you said, I got this great story to say. I go, well, I want to hear it. Let's wait for the podcast. So I was just waiting.
It's a funny story. I guess for me, it's funny because I'm looking at it from, I guess I'm an insider and I'm looking at it from that outsider view, where we've been doing things using processes in order to be in other people's universes, but it's also in order to get the right number where we want to end up. And so it's no secret I've moved to Florida, and I've moved in probably one of the worst inflationary periods in I guess in at least in my lifetime. And so looking for a home, finding a home is extremely difficult because valuations are out of this world right now. We have no idea what the real value of anything really is, because it's just been going on a tear, and we don't know why, other than there's a lot of money being printed, and there's an inflationary environment, and mortgage rates were still low. So all that contributed to a really hot real estate market. And if you've been paying attention anywhere, that's probably your situation. So the whole process was, now I'm I'm married, I have a wife who's never in this real estate world. She's in her own world, and we share a world with the family, the children. But when it comes to real estate, it's something that she just like, this is your world, you stick in there. But this is a family home that we're looking for. So now the discussions happen in that world where it's real estate and the family world that are talking at the same time. So, she's very in the process of, we're never going to find a home and it's not just the price is a factor, obviously, but it's not a price because of the money. It's a price because if we buy this now, are we going to be able to sell it at anywhere near that price should we have to sell it in the future? And that's the thought process that's going through her mind. And so my answer is always no, right? Like, I want this thing for free every single time. So we have these discussions, and now all of a sudden I start seeing this, real slowdown in the market where, maybe 5 weeks ago, a house would come up on a listing. I don't even have time to book a visit in the next 3 days, and it's already sold and above asking price. So I don't even have time to see it. Now I have time to see it. Now I have agents calling me and asking me what I think about this. So I can see a shift. So now I start telling my wife, this is starting to become the fun part for us, and she's like stressed out of her mind because this is like, I can't take this. Our lease is up in December, and it's really fun for me. It's not so much
December.
For her. Yeah.
My gosh,
that's like forever, right?
I would even be stressed if my lease was up, let's say in July, and it was June 20th.
Right.
I'm like, no problem, I'll fight.
But we'll figure it out. But this is what we were talking about: these preconceived, these assumptions and these ego and all the baggage you're bringing with you. That there's a process to this, and she's seeing it from her world, and I'm seeing it from my world, and so I said for the fun of it, just because I want to show her that there's a process to this, and the process doesn't always end up in the result you want, but if you follow the process enough times, you will end up with the result you're looking for.
Can I just pause that for a second? The only thing you can control is your behavior and your actions.
Correct.
Right? So if you have the right actions and behavior, you'll have control, and you have a lot more control in your life than you expect. So that's what Gabe is really also explaining, is that he has control over what happens next, and if he does it enough times, it will work.
And I'm not tied to the result on this specific transaction
or any transaction,
right? And
we can always walk away from any transaction at any time. We're not married to any deal.
And that's the key, and that's what I think is a lack of understanding with my wife, is that this isn't necessarily the house. This is something I'm working on for fun. And so I'm gonna give you kind of just let's just assume that the asking price is $2 million. I feel, let's say the value is around 1.5, 6-ish based on comps. And obviously I want this as close to 1 as possible. Let's just use those barometers here, or parameters. So $2 million is the asking price. And she, we have this discussion. I'm like, well, we're going to offer close to 1 million. And she's like, you can't do that. And I'm like, well, why not? Well, they're going to think, we're lowballers. They're going to think this, they're going to think that. I'm like, well, they don't even know us. Like, why would they care, or why would they waste their time? And she's like, yeah, but they won't like us. And I'm like, we're not in this to be liked. We're in this to buy a property. I don't understand. And this is, again, all the baggage that's coming with this transaction. And don't get me wrong. I'm pinning a lot of this on my wife. I've been there before. I've had all this baggage. This was a process of rewiring myself in order to understand that this isn't the way the game is played.
There's a principle here. It's our job is not to be liked, it's to be respected, right?
Yeah, and effective.
So, effective, respected, not liked.
That's right. We don't care, and we're not tied to the transaction.
How they're going to like us is us buying it.
Yes.
That's the only way they're going to like it. And if we don't follow that process, we're never going to be liked.
Right. And we don't know if they have a need or they don't have a need. But if we don't play the game, we'll never find out, right? And that's what it's all about.
So right now you're whiteboarded, which is I'll do anything and see what happens.
Yeah.
And she has all this baggage that's bringing to the closing table that's not stopping her from even. And this is, I'm not saying your wife specifically.
No, we're using her as an
awesome.
example. Yeah.
Yes, I think most people have this problem. They'll never take this or never do that. And it's almost being fearless because you're not attached to the result, and that makes you fearless. And if you're afraid of nothing, you can accomplish anything. Remember that.
Correct.
Because your ego isn't in it.
So it's been fun. And we're sending text messages to the agent, and he's sending back text messages, and we're crafting new text messages. And the thing is we didn't make an offer yet. The beauty of the process is that if I'm going to make an offer close to $1 million on a $2 million property, it's because they asked me to do that, and they begged for it. So I'm working on that process to get that beg, and she's just stressing about what's happening next, which is it's hilarious for me, and I feel terrible for her
because you're on the inside, so it's really not fair.
It's
you're
not
playing
fair.
A two different games. She's playing on an emotional game, and with her assumption saying there's no way they're going to come down $1 million.
And I don't want to tell her that.
What's wrong with you? What happened to Gabe?
This probably won't even be the house. If we buy something, it'll be in 6 months when we're just basically they're giving us the house.
Yeah, well, you're just taking over the debt at that point.
That's what I mean.
Which is it's going to be a really good time for that coming up. Forgot what I was going to say.
But you mentioned something before, not to be liked and liked, and we see this in the tickets with some of the students where they trying to be liked, and in the end, because they're trying so hard to be liked, and they do things or say things that they shouldn't have, in the end, they're disliked because they fucked up the deal.
Yeah.
And so it's again having that whiteboard, no assumptions that I better do this because they're not gonna. If I ask for more information, or if I ask for more DD items, or if I ask for whatever. Or if I give them a lower price, they're not going to take it. Well, you don't know that. You're putting your assumption ahead of their in their thought process. But Marco,
Tom was under contract. Tom has a contract on a hotel, 50 cents on the dollar or so. Seller's supposed to do X, Y, and Z or Z if you're Canadian. And seller says, "Hey man, like that's all. We're done giving you anything. We want you to go ahead and close now." And without thinking, Tom just says, "Fine," because he specifically said, "I relinquished them from their obligation to give us what we need because I didn't want to lose the deal." But what he did lost him the deal.
There you go.
And by losing the deal, he hurt the seller.
Yeah.
And I wanted the seller to like me, and now the seller is pissed. We call it the Furking Special, and it happens all the time, right? It's remove your ego completely and follow process, and it's not your deal. It's actually a seller that you're trying to help, and you can't help a seller unless you have the right information that you need in order to help the seller. We will not buy the property at full price because we don't have the capital to give you at full price, because that's the reality. Asset-based lenders need the down payment is the discount, right? So you don't need to put in your own money because you are using other people's money, and to protect their money, we need the discount. So we're serving the lender and we're serving the seller by marrying the right discount, which is done through skill, right? The right sweetener. And I say discount internally. I'm never going to say a discount to a seller because no one likes to discount anything, right? It's really, at the end of the day, we're coming from a place of service. And how can we serve them? And we can't serve them if they give us this number. Costco, they buy a whole bunch of products and they have to buy it at the right prices to give it to their members. I'm one of them.
You're 6 of them.
I think I have 2 memberships with 2 different
I've been
companies.
with you to Costco. It's like one cart's not good enough, and
no,
the
you
carts
need
are
2
big
cars too.
I have a convoy.
Marco,
I have a hearse.
Marco brings.
I have a hearse.
Marco
I have a hearse for Costco. I don't even have a car. I have a hearse. I have an El Camino that's converted into a hearse, and I just throw everything in the back of the hearse.
Marco brings 2 people to him with them to Costco for those big carts.
My gosh.
He's just walking around that one. I was like,
People think
I tie them all
people
together.
think he has a convenience store.
We're not on a tangent or anything.
At all.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Squirrel.
But where I'm going with this is any business like Walmart, Costco, anything. They have to. They're getting the products on their shelves at the best possible price because it's within their mission, vision, and purpose to give their value to their customers, right? And if you are, they don't care about being liked. What they want is their customers have to win, right? And in so doing, they get more and more customers, which allows them to make millions. So that's just how it works.
But
right?
in the end,
So
it's also
the more
helping. But in the, sorry, Marco. But in the end, it's also helping the supplier. So whoever's supplying that product or service to Walmart, because I know they get sometimes a bad rap saying, "Oh, Walmart, they're gonna cut your price or whatever on your product," but they're actually serving the supplier, because by having it at a certain price point, they can distribute it through all their Walmarts, and people are buying them, so they'll be a lot more wealthier on taking a little bit now, but for the volume
and brand awareness for them. Yeah.
Well, and they can, if depending on what the product is they can get, because they have a large order, they can cut their cost by buying as well in bulk. So the chain, exactly. So there's a whole lot of benefits to this, but we can, we'll get to that later. But at the end of the day, we're still serving a customer in some way, right? Yeah. Even Walmart, if they want something, if they want a product which they know is going to add a lot of value to their customers, and it's important, and with the mission, vision, and purpose of the supplier is, listen, I will not give you this product at this price because we will go out of business. So we're the only one that has this product. We have a patent. They protected their product because that was within their mission, vision, and purpose, is to serve their whatever this product is, widget X, and it's the only one. And we're going to give Walmart the first shot, and we're going to Target next. So you're the only one that's going to carry this with but this is the number that's necessary. And you can try to ask me for less, but we're not going to run out of. We're not. If we give you that number, we're out of business, which is not within our mission, vision, and purpose. So with crystal clarity, it's not about money anymore. It's about continuing your vision, right? So when you have that understanding, right, you also can really communicate honestly and openly with no bullshit with anybody and say, listen, this is where we're at, man. Like, we're not retail, like in the real estate business, we say right away, we're not retail buyers to agents. If you're giving us something retail, not interested, unless there's a ridiculous upside, right? Ridiculous. Then we'll maybe look at it. But unless there's some juice, we're not interested. I don't want to waste your time. So the conversation is very honest, because we can't and won't buy a property that's retail because we don't have access to the money. So why would I even waste this person's time? And suddenly they're bringing us off-market discounted assets because they understand exactly what we're looking for in clarity, and they want to make a commission. So at first we're clear as to here's our parameters, our guidelines, is what we need. Then it's all about them, baby. It's what do they need? How can we serve them? What do we, as long as they're bringing us the right thing, then we can start having this really interesting conversation of living in their universe without preconceived ideas of my own. Oh, they'll take this offer that they won't accept. Harry's an example that we're in almost a contract with. Really interesting. Mobile home park asking $700,000, $695. Got compressed down to I think 500, and something happened where they went under contract, and then it fell out of contract. And the agent was kind of a dick, and Harry was like, I don't have time for this shit, and he just said, listen, I said, make me an offer, and he just wanted the guy to go away, and made an offer of $300,000. The strike price at a 15 cap is about $370. All right, he just made a low swag offer of 301 and change. They took it.
Oh, poor guy.
Okay.
And Harry's like,
fuck,
I didn't even want I don't even want this. I don't want this.
There you go.
He's upset.
Like, he just didn't want it. Yeah, he was just pissed off and said, fuck it, I'm out of here. Like, I'm going to give you something you're going to hate, so I'm out.
Yeah.
And he wrote it exactly like that. Like, he just didn't give any fucks.
Oh my
and
goodness.
It worked.
And he should have offered lower.
Well, he thought that was lower. Come on, you went from what, 700 or 695?
700.
You don't get
just slashed it in half.
We say it. If you don't get a no, you offer too much.
Oh my goodness, that story reminds me of my dad. He did a lot of construction. He did a lot of work like landscaping, interlocks, and things like that. When he didn't want a job, he would go there. He would give the free estimates. When he didn't want a job, I'm sure it's not just the Italians. They would overprice the fucking thing.
Yeah.
They would overprice it, and then he's like, I don't even want it. I'm gonna give this guy double, or I'm gonna stack it so the guy's gonna say no, and they come and say yes. It's like, listen, you want me to do it? You want this? You want it done by then? It's too much, because it's too much shit on his head, because they want everyone wants everything done right away, and he's got to line them up. But you want it done by that, instead of a job cost $10,000, he's like, it's $23,400, and they're like, okay, do it. He's like, fuck. He's like, all right. So, but now he just made double the money. But that you just reminded me of that story. Marco.
Happens all the time. Yeah. And like the car that I have an Aston Martin James Bond edition, 50 of them made, and I'm not bragging at all because I know nothing about cars. That's all I had. That's all I got for you. Twin turbo, V12, 800 horsepower.
Basically, what was on the booklet? Yeah.
Right. Well, I didn't even read the booklet, and I had just bought a car. Like I just bought a car, and I was servicing my car, and this they were talking about this Aston Martin. It's like, hey, this guy likes cars. And I'm like, I don't even know anything about cars. I'm not a car guy at all. Like zero. Not. And they're asking like almost $400,000 for this machine, and they're like, do you want to buy it? And I'm like, no, I just bought a car. I'm not interested. And he said, well, are you sure you want to test drive it? I'm like, no, I just don't care. Like I have a car. I don't need a sports car. I don't need one. And they kept coming back while I was in service, and he's like, $350. How about $350? I'm like, no, I just bought a car. You don't need a car. He said, well, do you want to make an offer? I'm like, listen, man, if I make you an offer on this car, you know how I buy my cars. It's going to be under $200,000. Oh my goodness. And I said, I know nothing about this car. Under $200,000. You guys, come on. I was like, well, then buzz off. I'm not interested. And they just kept calling and texting and calling and texting. I said, I gave you my number. It's under 200,000. And they just kept dropping and dropping, and I eventually got it exactly under 200,000. And I'm like, now what do I do? And then I looked, then I blue booked it. I didn't know anything about this fucking car. And I'm like, fuck, it's worth over 300,000.
Yeah, it's
I'm like, I'll just buy it for the investment. I'll just buy it for the investment. Yeah. And so then I called Maurice, my banker. Yeah. He says, hey, I got this car, and can you finance it? He said, yeah, 1.9%. Actually, we can finance $250,000. I'm like, okay.
I didn't pay that much. I wonder if the car salesman walked away and says, I just sold the car. What did you sell it for?
Well, actually, they called me the next day after we closed the transaction. Said someone wants to pay $50,000 more than you just paid for it. Do you want to sell it? And I'm like, no, thanks.
You could have flipped it.
Yeah.
Oh, but it's a sweet ride. So it's.
It is.
So anyway, I'm not bragging because I know nothing about cars, and it's just because I just didn't care. That's it. I just don't even want the car. It's nice to drive, but it's a scary fucking car. But I wasn't married to it, right? And I
you
just
didn't
don't
need
care.
it, and that's
I don't need. Oh, well,
perfect
that's the next
segue.
podcast, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So whenever you don't, I don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
Don't go there.
So the less your ego is there, the more displaced you are from the actual transaction.
The result.
The better the result, because it's not about you. You're no longer involved in the transaction. You're super laser focused on your counterpart to understand their world, ask the right questions without bias, right? Reminds me of a joke, more of not a joke, but sort of I guess a riddle. So a doctor and his son. So hang on a second. A doctor and their son are driving in a car. All right. So I'm gonna start all over again. A doctor and their son is driving in a car, and there's a car accident, right? And they hit a tree, and the doctor is killed. The son is rushed to the hospital, and as soon as they get to the hospital, the ER doctor looks at the boy on the gurney and says, "I can't operate. This is my son."
Mm-hmm.
Explain.
You want me to? Because I know, but
no.
Yes.
Okay. No.
Oh, then I'm lost. Okay, so you're gonna leave it to me. So doctor. Okay, I can't operate. This is my son. But you said the doctor died. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe the doctor wasn't his father. It was just another guy.
Pushing too far.
Another doctor pushing too far. Okay,
No,
well,
100%, all blood related.
Mm-hmm.
oh, they both died.
Are we letting him suffer or what?
Yes,
They both died. They moved on.
The doctor is the wife,
His mom.
and we have a preconception idea. We have a preconception idea, and well, that's the thing is I didn't get it either. So you're not the only one. So we have a preconception that the doctor's a man, right? So that's why it's so difficult. And someone that's like, well, it can be a man, a woman, whatever, it becomes a lot easier. It's the preconceptions that will stop you from really understanding the solution. And it's not till later that I really got it, because that's exactly our preconceptions or not understanding of things is what really blocks us in life. And the more whiteboarded you are, a child gets this right away. You ask a kid this, and it's like, this is what it is. Because there's not that preconception or those biases in our minds.
Baggage.
Yeah, and the baggage is going to kill you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's heavy, and it's weighting you down. Absolutely.
So you mentioned something the other day, Marco, about parenting and nurturing the seller. It's
Yes.
And a lot of students do waste time by not nurturing and being transparent up front, saying, no, we can't do this, but we can do this if you do that. And
Because they don't care.
That's the thing. Because it's like your story, Gabe. Your emotions run into it, and you have your preconceived notions that, hey, we can't offer $1 million on a $2 million property. The same thing goes with not nurturing. No, I don't want to say no because I'm going to hurt their feelings, or they're going to hate me and I'm not going to get the deal. But it's the other way around. You're wasting their time and yours by going through a path where there's no way you're going to buy it at that price. You have your parameters. You have your things. Say, listen, I can help you if we get to this price. So almost like the car. He helped the guy with the car. He doesn't know what to do with the car. It's like, fuck, I don't know what to do with this car. We don't sell those cars here.
It was done on consignment, and so very interesting.
Yeah.
They should have sold it at auction. They shouldn't have given it to me, but it is what it is. So I think we nailed it. I hope. Get your ego out of there. Kill your ego. Just have a whiteboard, and the more open you are to anything, the more fearless you are, because it's not about you. It's about them. And that's the beauty of life, is remove your ego and be fearless, and amazing things happen. So thanks, gentlemen, for a good session. Listener, hope you loved it. Like us, love us, share us, subscribe, and share us. I would be delighted if you shared it on your social. Love to get as many humans as possible to hear this and understand how they can, how you can grow and your community can grow in their impact by really serving and helping as many humans as possible, and come from the right place, come from a place of love to really serve and help the communities in which we live in, and the world. And I appreciate your time, you listening, and can't wait to see you on the next episode, not only Gabe and Frank, but the listener. I'm excited to share the very next topic, which I can't tell you because I don't think we know what it is yet, but we'll make it up as we go along. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. Have a great day, and do the right thing. Take care. See ya.
If you like this episode of Big Fat Real Estate Checks, then show some love by leaving a comment and a good rating. Also, as a thank you for tuning in today, we've got a special free gift. The journey to passive cash flow for life starts by finding deals, and it's easier than you think. Simply go to getdealsbytuesday.com, enter your email address, and we'll send you a free quick start course called Deals by Tuesday. Even if it's 11 p.m. Monday night, this course will show you how to find discounted real estate deals by Tuesday. It's that fast and simple. Go to getdealsbytuesday.com and start your journey toward life-changing cash flow today. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode.